Today we're going to be fishing our favorite spot, the Thousand Islands area of the St. Lawrence River.
First day of October, the leaves are changing color. It looks beautiful out here, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, we've been here. We were here in June, and we've been here all through the seasons, June, July, August. This is the first time we've been here in October, and the leaves are already changed. Some of them are at their peak.
It's a little bit different, but it looks really nice, and the weather is beautiful. We're expecting 75-degree days for the next couple days. Even if we don't catch any fish, we'll have a great time just being up here, won't we?
Oh, just super. Just to enjoy this. This is our favorite spot in the whole world. Just the beauty of this place overwhelms you. And then with the changing of the leaves, super. What a super weekend.
Well, in June we got about, 60 northern pike when we were up here? So if we could have that many,
No, between you and I, we got 45 pike.
Okay, well, I stretched it a bit.
Okay, yeah, we got 45 pike.
But we're still looking for that big one, though,
We're looking for the big one. This is our
10 pounds.
20th year we've been coming up here.
Been up here a lot of times to caught a lot of northern pike, but nothing really huge. We've had a few on there, and they've eluded us. They've broken our tackle.
You know, they say that fall is the best time. And muskie, this is October now. Muskie might be out there. We're going to fish for northerns. That's what we're here for. If we get largemouth and smallmouth, we'll pick them up incidentally. But we're here, we want a big northern.
And this is the place to catch northern pike, definitely. We know how to do it. We've done it before, so hopefully we'll get lucky and land a big one. We've got the heavy tackle all set, and we're ready to go.
Well, you want to give it a shot?
Ready when you are. Let's do it.
We're going to start here at this weed line. There's a nice weed line, a nice drop-off. It goes from 14 feet to 30 feet. And then the weed line follows this whole shoreline. We got a nice southwest wind blowing, probably about 4 or 5 miles an hour. It's going to give us a beautiful drift. And this is what I'm going to drift with. I'm going to drift with this jig. A jig I tied myself. It's white, green, and yellow. It's got a green head. It's about 5/8 ounce, and it's got a 3/0 hook on, a nice big hook. I've got a wire leader here with a cross-lock snap on the end. I'll put that on there so it gets some good movement. Now, what you have to do is sweeten the jig. You take a chub. Now here, this is a dead chub, but you can make this chub alive by what you do with the jig. And you put it right under the middle of his skull, out the back of his skull, until that point shows through. Now you've got a minnow on the jig. Now you've got about a 4-inch jig. Now see, watch the action in the water here. Watch this jig. A jig will do nothing unless you give it the action. Can you see that action? It looks like a wounded fish. Again, it looks like a wounded fish. And this is what we're doing under the surface, making it look like a wounded fish. The northerns get mad and they go to kill it. That's our strategy, and I've caught more pike that way than any other way. The next best method might be dragging a chub, a live chub. Let's see what we can do today.
far, we're struggling. Give us time, though. We'll find it. We gotta be in here somewhere. Couldn't have gone that far. But off to kind of a rough start here. Not exactly sure what the deal is. Maybe it's the weather, a little too nice, a little too much sunshine. Casting a purple Mr. Twister right now. Started with a chub, but it didn't work too well. We got like absolutely nothing for the first hour and a half, so I figured I'd try something a little bit different here, and I'm going with this twister tail worm, which is purple right now. I'm kind of casting it up against the shore just to see if I can maybe land something, maybe a bass, but so far in the last 10 minutes, no luck with this either, so pretty soon I might have to actually change lures again, but we'll get them sooner or later. We're working on it.
You know, these people that talk about this fall fishing, next time I hear somebody say something about fall fishing, I'm going to bop them right in the nose. I'll tell you, we've been out here for 2 hours. We didn't get a bite. So we came in here behind Morgan Island. I know there's a hole here. I put a small minnow on. We were getting panfish here a couple years ago. Hey, a bite. I'm getting a bite. Hey, I think there's one on. There's one on there. A small one. I got a 6-pound test line. It feels like a bass or maybe a small northern, real small, maybe a perch for all I know. God knows what you get in this place.
At least you got a fish.
Oh yeah, it's a small northern.
It's a start.
I got him on a jig. Oh, he swallowed a jig too. I don't even see the jig. You know what's going to happen? You got to cut that line. You got to cut that line. Just a small northern. See that jig down in there? That's going to be a problem getting that jig out. Got to get the long-nosed pliers for this. That isn't much to come all the way up here for, I'll tell you. I'll get the long nose and get that jig out.
Day 2 started off on a rough note. A southwest wind at 25 miles an hour blew up the St. Lawrence Valley, making boat control and lure presentation extremely difficult. We decided it'd be a good time to go into town and look for a tavern where we could watch the Bills on Monday Night Football, shoot a few videos, and maybe do a little shopping, and wait till the wind dies down. This fella couldn't wait. He was going to fish offshore. He was bound and determined he was going to fish.
we just finished our breakfast. We had some eggs that we cooked the traditional way, and then we microwaved some sausages as well. We brought our microwave oven along here. Why not? I mean, we have the electricity here. It makes things a lot easier for us. And the less time we spend cooking, the more time we can spend out on the water trying to catch fish here. So anyway, we're just about ready to go. We're going to go into town, get some film, and then come back and hit the water for the rest of the day. Hopefully we'll have better luck than we had last night. It was kind of rough, but I think we're more prepared today. See, here's the water he's heating up here on this stove for the dishes. So I have some coffee that's a little cold. What I'm going to do is just stick it in the microwave right here. Be nice and convenient and quick, and I'll just heat it up that way. All the comforts of home here in our little cabin at the Thousand Island.
Oh, I love this roughing it, don't you?
Oh, it's tough, but someone's got to do it, right?
And tonight we're going to go into town and watch the Bills on Monday Night Football. That's the way to camp.
Well, this is the cottage right here, $20 a night. Nice little place. We have our living room area, and then over here is a bedroom. 2 big bunk beds. It's really not that bad. If you're looking to do some serious fishing and you don't really need a large area, this is just the thing that you need. And it's right on the water. You can look out the window over there. Beautiful shot of Goose Bay. And we're having a good time in here. It's quite comfortable, definitely. This is Scenic View Park here in Alexandria Bay, one of the most picturesque spots in the entire Thousand Islands. As you can see behind me is Bolt Castle and a children's playhouse. Of course, the castle is the big building, the playhouse is the small one. The entire area here is real nice just to come down and maybe have a picnic or take a walk around, get some pictures. I have my camera here. I'm taking some still photos today. Even though I had these pictures, I just can't resist taking them again because it just looks so good through the viewfinder. But I'd say this might be the heart of the entire Thousand Islands, right where we are now, and it's always a pleasure to come down here. And now that it's fall, it adds a new dimension to the whole thing as well, with the foliage on the trees and everything. So we're having a good time just walking around here this afternoon.
The main channel of the St. Lawrence Seaway runs within a couple hundred yards of this park. It's an excellent place to watch boats from all over the world penetrate into the very heartland of America. The biggest tourist attraction around here is Bolt Castle and Hart Island. About 100 years ago, George Bolt owned the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York City, and he amassed a considerable fortune. This was before the days of the income tax. In 1900, he bought Hart Island, and the first thing he did was tear down the mansion on the island. You see, he wanted to build a Rhineland castle. A dream castle as a monument to his wife Louise, who he was very much in love with. The castle would have 120 rooms, and it became the largest construction project in northern New York. It provided all kinds of jobs for people in the Bay, and even brought over 100 stonemasons from Italy to work on the stonework. In 1904, after 3 years of work and $2.5 million spent, all construction stopped. The dream was never fulfilled. Today, tour boats from several ports in 2 countries, the U.S. and Canada, bring tourists to the island to explore the island and the castle. Next to Hart Island and the castle is Millionaire's Row, a series of islands where millionaires in the early 1900s built all kinds of mansions for summer homes. My favorite is St. Elmo's Island. St. Elmo was the patron saint of sailors. My daughter said when she made her first million, she would buy me this island. George Bolt had a yacht basin on an adjacent island behind his castle. For 73 years, the castle deteriorated as the weather took its toll. Then in 1977, it was bought by the Thousand Islands Bridge Authority with the goal of restoring it to its original condition. The seaway brought many changes to the St. Lawrence. From oil spills to zebra mussels, it impacted what was once a fishing paradise. This is Cherry Island, one of the most beautiful of the islands, whose grounds and mansion remain the same as they were 100 years ago. When the St. Lawrence Seaway opened in 1959, it was beginning of the end for the city of Buffalo. Buffalo was the 12th largest in population, the Queen City of the Great Lakes, the second largest rail center, and the largest inland port in the world. You see, all cargo traveling east had to stop at Buffalo and then be transferred by railroad to the ports on the eastern seaboard. Now, the opening of the St. Lawrence meant that these ships through the Welland Canal could bypass the city of Buffalo and started Buffalo on a downslide. Buffalo is now 52nd in population in this country. Well, Joe, looks like the wind's dying down. What do you say? Let's go back and get a little fishing in today.
Geez, I got one, Jay. Good size. I think it's a pike. I had that jig. I put that dead minnow on the jig. I don't have a steel leader on. Get him in the water. Look what he did. He threw my chub back at me. He's hooked outside of his mouth. I think we're okay. He shouldn't be able to chew that steel leader.
You did that?
I don't know. You think we ought to net him or just play him out?
That's up to you. It's your fish. How big is it?
This one here looks just about 24 inches. It's a skinny one, though.
Why don't you, try and bring him in yourself.
Just like on TV. There's a pretty good size. That's probably the biggest one we got all year. We were out here in June. We got 45 pike, and I swear they were all smaller than this. We had a lot of action, but that's why we came here in September to try and get a bigger one.
Actually, it's October, right?
Or October.
Whoops, there he goes.
I got him.
They like to throw a fit, don't they?
All right.
They don't appreciate being caught too much.
Good size.
Turn him sideways. Let's get a good look at him. Hey, that's a nice looking fish.
Yeah. I'm going to let him go. What do you say?
Well, it might be our only one, so...
Let him go.
You sure you want to do that?
Tomorrow we're going to get some bigger ones.
Is that a promise?
I promise. We'll get bigger ones tomorrow. There he goes.
And away we go.
Just
Jig.
a little jig, tiny jig, not even a steel leader on that one. And a dead chub. It was a dead chub that we had put on the side. I said, I'll put him on a jig and work him. And sure enough, we got him. Got this jig on here. I picked up one over by Goose Bay. Now we're in between Diamond Island and Morgan Island and Little Bay trying to get out of this wind. Fish on! Fish on! I got him on that jig. Oh, he's under. I'll let you know when he's coming up. Feels like a decent size. Not real big, but decent size. Yeah, it's a northern. Watch the line. Watch the line. See that jig hanging out of his mouth?
Mm-hmm.
Real easy to get those jigs out. Ah, it's only a little one. That's a little baby. We're going to have to throw him back in. But see, when they're hooked with a jig, they're just in the mouth like that. It's kind of easy to release. Real easy to release them that way. That's a little baby. That's probably the one I caught yesterday. No, I killed him. We'll let this guy
Came back from the dead.
I figured 10 feet of water. The weeds are 5 feet down. I was swimming this jig. This is that jig with the green head that I showed you earlier. Just swimming that jig, trying to tick the tops of those weeds. And I got a snag. I noticed there was a little pikeweed, a little tobacco weed leaf on there. Kept running it over, sure enough. That's where you find the pike, wherever those tobacco weeds are.
Looks like I'm going to have to go to a jig now, huh?
I would say put a jig on. Yeah.
You can see on the depth finder we're in about 14 foot of water, and the weeds go up to about 4 feet below the surface. So if you swim a jig right above those weeds, try to tick the top of those weeds, you got a good shot at a northern.
The funniest thing, we're out there fishing for 2 hours, 2.5 hours Sunday night, and same way Monday night. We came in, put the boat away, and right off the dock here, I threw the jig and a chub in, picked up a couple northerns, lost the jig. I had a couple other hits on it, and that water right there is 2 feet deep. It's 2 feet, maybe 2.5 feet. They were in here feeding on these minnows.
It's really tough to beat the scenery in this park. We've got the rocks, we have beautiful trees and the water behind me. If there's a more beautiful park in this state, I'd definitely like to see it.
Crink Point is a peninsula located about 5 miles east of Alexandria Bay. On the one side are the serene waters of Goose Bay, and on the other side, the mighty St. Lawrence. Centuries ago, when the glaciers swept down from Canada, they scoured the area, taking the topsoil along with them and leaving only bare rock. And it's this combination of rock and trees and only a little topsoil that makes this area so beautiful. And it's amazing. The trees seem to grow right out of the bare rock, rooted right into the rock. The absence of topsoil allows lichens and moss and some alpine plants to penetrate the cracks in the rocks, finishing off nature's masterpiece. Crane Point was established in 1898, making it one of our oldest parks. In the beginning, it was called the State Land, and it was used primarily by fishing guides who would take their customers out in a wooden rowboat called the St. Lawrence Skiff for muskie and bass and northern pike. After a hard morning's fishing, they'd put in at Crane Point for a shore lunch. The shore lunch consisted of the morning's catch of bass or pike, some salted potatoes, vegetables in season, some butter and dessert, cooked by the guides over an open fire. The customers who developed a hearty appetite after a morning fishing would sit on the shoreline and eat this gourmet dinner to the rhythms of the St. Lawrence. In the 1930s, roads were added. Improvements were made, and Crane Point was developed as a campground. There are 110 campsites, half of which are on the water. You can stand any place in the park and see the waters of Goose Bay or the St. Lawrence. There are also 8 rustic cabins for rent located on prime sites on Goose Bay. The cabins have electricity and a refrigerator, but no running water. Anybody wanting to make reservations is advised to call early.
In the summer, this is a really, really popular camping area because this is where the electrical sites are for the large vehicles. Right now, we have 3 campers here. The rest, all empty. We feel a day like today is our best chance of getting a big pike. We've been coming up here, this is our 20th year now. We've got a lot of pike. In June we got 45 pike in Schermerhorn Landing. But we came up here for a couple days in early October, not only to sample the beautiful, beautiful scenery around here, but to see if we can't get at least one big pike. Yesterday we had a windy day. Today looks like a perfect day. Our last day, maybe our last fishing day of the season, we're going to have to get that pike today. If we ever get it, we want to get it today.
This here is Iroquois Point. This is one of our favorite spots in the Thousand Islands. We've had a lot of success here, and we think this could be our best chance for getting some pretty decent fish. In the past, we got some large northern pike out of here, and we had some really huge ones actually break our line right in this area. Several of them, as a matter of fact. So we're hoping that we'll have some good luck here today. The conditions are right, and we're in the right spot here to go to work here and take care of business. Well, we're fishing at Iroquois Point right now using jigs. I have a white one on, and Dad has a yellow one on, or a chartreuse one anyway. Should be a good spot. There's a weed line right out here. We're fishing the edge of it. We know there's fish in here, and it's a beautiful day for fishing. Overcast skies, not that much wind. So if we're going to get them, today and right now actually should be the time. So we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's a good weed, too. That's a good weed, that weed we look for.
Yeah, there's cabbage weed, as a matter of fact. Okay, this is the coontail. It's mixed in with the cabbage. But there's a lot of cabbage weed down there. And we noticed over the years that northern pike seem to love cabbage weed. They love to hang out in that type of a weed. So when you find it, that's usually where the pike are. And they're in here somewhere. We've been here about 10 minutes. We haven't had any bites yet, but hopefully that'll change pretty shortly here.
Right now we're at about 18 feet of water. I'm dragging a chub, and I'm casting out a yellow jig with a chub on it. All right, hang up. Got him on a 6-pound test. He's not big, but I got him on a 6-pound test line. Probably a pike because I had the jig. Coming up. He's a decent size. He's a keeper.
Yeah, we need a shore launch here before we go.
See, when you get him hooked with that jig, you just get him in a lip, and it's kind of easy to get him off. Just in a lip. And it's easy to get him off when you get him hooked with a jig.
Yeah.
He's smaller than I thought he was. He's only about 22 or just about legal. I'm going to let him go.
That'll be 22 inches here, right?
Yeah, 22. I'm going to let this one go. But that was with the jig in about 15 feet of water, just coming, trying to tick the top of those weeds with that jig.
Okay, I got one. Finally. Feels like a northern.
You got one?
Yeah.
Okay, first one of the trip.
Not a very big one, but
Oh, no? Is there a wire leader? Grab the wire leader.
looks like it might get off. Can I pull him in the room? I guess not.
All right, good one. That's a good size one.
Yeah.
No, it's kind of small, but what the hell? At least it's something, eh?
Yeah, better than nothing.
Yeah.
Looks about 20.
What'd you have on there, a chub?
Yeah, he just took the chub. It's just been floating around all day behind the boat, and something finally decided to bite on it, I suppose.
Yeah.
So he's not hooked too bad either. Should be fairly easy to get it out of his mouth.
Oh, good.
I might need the pliers though. See, with the bone structure of their mouth, it's tough to get these hooks out without pliers sometimes, you know?
You have a pair of pliers in your tackle box, right?
Yeah.
You know, we just followed that weed line all the way out here, and it ends right around here in about 26 feet. I'm going to toss this. I got the jig down there now, 26 feet. And let's try that because shallower, we're too much in the weeds. I got that jig on there. All right, fish on, fish on, fish on. Ah. I think he's into the weed now. Oh, I gotta pull him and the weeds. Holy shit. Ah, it's a small pike. Look at his mouth. What's the matter with his mouth? He went into the mud. Look how he went into the mud. There he goes, he's making a run under the boat. Ah, that's another, about the same size, you know? It gotta be a little bit bigger. See how that jig gets him hooked nice on the outside? If I grab him by the gills like this, I could paralyze him. And the jig should come out real easy. Generally, when you hook them with a jig, you can get them out real easy.
That
Another
one
pike, probably
might
another
be a
one,
keeper,
20,
huh?
Huh?
Might be a keeper.
Probably about 22 inches. I could measure them. I can get this out. Come on, I got the wrong way. We should make something, you know, like just barely 22. I'm going to let him go. Here we go.
Whoop, there's one.
You got one?
Yeah, feels like a small pike again. Basically
another-
what we've been catching the whole trip.
Yeah, small pike. Geez, we thought we'd get some big ones, you know?
Yeah, but it's pretty much the same as it usually is. Well, he's not much of a fighter, but...
Right now, we're near the boathouses near Pine Tree Point.
There he is. Whoa.
They're easy to get off the one. You got to use a jig, you know?
For sure. Now he's going to try and bite me. See, what I got to do is paralyze him by grabbing him this way. Otherwise, they will bite you with those teeth. First chance they get. Looks about 20 inches. We'll throw him back, huh?
Yeah.
Always nice to be out here fishing around Alexandria Bay. Right behind me is Hart Island and Bolt Castle. Bolt Castle was built by a guy named George Bolt back around the turn of the century. But it was never completed because shortly before it was scheduled to be completed, the wife that he was building it for, that he was so much in love with, died. And he was so heartbroken that he just abandoned the whole project and never went back to the island again. He just canceled everything. In fact, he banned his entire family from going back to that island ever again. But it's very interesting. You have the main castle in the middle, and you also have a powerhouse. You also have a fantastic boathouse, which is right behind us, and a children's playhouse, and it's all part of the island, except for the boathouse, which is off here to the side. But they have tours here all the time. Several boat lines from the Thousand Islands come down, and people are always going through that castle. And for a while, they just let the thing go, and it was starting to deteriorate. But what they decided to do was restore it to its original state, and that's exactly what they've done. They're not going to complete it because they figured that's not what George Bolt would have wanted. But they do want to at least preserve it to the point where people can come in and enjoy what at least it was at one time, which is a pretty interesting structure.
This place is so nice. One of the reasons I like fishing here is, you know, even if you don't catch fish, everything is so beautiful. Right now we're in the bay behind Bolt Castle, and this is the yacht basin. This is the Bolt Yacht Basin behind us. Those doors were 60 feet high to take their yachts. And of course they had sailing vessels back then. And there's a ditch in here where the sailing vessels used to come through, and it's a good spot for northern pike, so we're trying for northern pike. Northern pike and panfish right in this little slot. It's about an 8-foot ditch that they dug years ago. That boathouse is actually on Wellesley Island. George Bolt owned about 200 acres on Wellesley Island. He had his own dairy cows, he raised his own food. The man supplied electricity for Alexandria Bay. He was quite a wealthy guy. And when his wife died, he said, to hell with it all.
Here comes Uncle Sam's tour boat, bringing tourists over to the island.
Oh, they're smaller boats. Boy, it's been a rough trip here. Oh, looks like I got one right here. On that chartreuse jig, that little chartreuse jig.
That chartreuse seems to be the one, eh?
I guess so, yeah. Real tiny, though. I mean, this is like the booby prize of the trip right here. The booby prize. I wouldn't award for the smallest pike of the trip. The net kind of a trip.
Jay, our mini vacation is over.
Yes, it is. It was a good time as usual, right? The fishing could have been a bit better, but hey, it's just great being up here at this time of the year.
Oh, gorgeous, just gorgeous. Everything is so beautiful.
You know, just within the last couple days, the colors just seem so much more vivid. You know, the foliage is unfoiling before our very eyes, you might say.
Right. You wake up in the morning and more Jack Frost puts some more color on the tree.
Yes, it's a great time of the year to be here at the Thousand Islands.
But we didn't get the big one.
No, once again, it has eluded us. One of these times, maybe we'll get lucky, but you did all right. You caught quite a few.
Yeah, well, they say that the fish fatten up in the fall. They really feed heavily to carry them over the winter time. Fall is such a great time to get the big ones. I don't know where they are. We haven't done enough fall fishing to find them.
Well, don't forget, it's still early in the fall, the first week here in October, and maybe the water's still a little warm. Maybe when it gets down around 55 degrees, they'll start trying to fatten themselves up for the winter.
Yeah, we've had a pretty warm fall. It's been warm all the way up until now, and I think the water's about 65. So
yeah,
maybe we're a little early, but you got to go when you can go.
That's right, and we still had a good time just being here and enjoying the beautiful scenery around us. And
yeah, like Marv Levy says, there's no place I'd rather be than right here, right now. Well, we got the truck all packed. What do you say we take one walk around the park and then head for Buffalo?
That sounds good. One more walk around the park would be great. After we got in off the boat last night, I fished a little bit off this dock just before dark. There's quite a few sunnies actually hanging around down here around the boats and everything, and there's a couple of bass in there with them as well. So I was just kind of playing around with a little worm, and at least I caught a few things. But this is one of the nicer areas, I think, as far as scenery goes in the park. It's a nice little dock and a good little place to kill a few minutes every now and then. This park closes this coming Sunday, and those boats you see behind us, they actually belong to people that live on those islands behind us. Not too many people with boats here at the park at the present time. But what they do is they park their cars here, and then they take their boats to the island and come back here to the park and drop their boats off behind us. This is Goose Bay behind us right here. The main river's on the other side of the park. As you can see, our cabin is in the background with a boat and truck. We're getting ready to take off here. But we had a real good time here overlooking the bay on this trip. It's a real nice scene, especially with the fall foliage.
To receive your free information on New York's Niagara Frontier.